easiest way to describe it is you take what you normally would give a large group direct instruction with, whatever it would be. It could be modeling a skill, lecturing about World War II, whatever it is, and you just shift that to video, either self-created or curated. Because there's a lot of great stuff already made out there. That's when the students engage with the lecture content. And then the class time, or more class time, is spent doing everything else you want to do as a teacher, everything else your students want to do other than just digital. All right, so that's the main crux of it. And what I've done over the past 4 to 5 years is experiment with different ways to do a flipped class. There's probably 10 different models of a flipped class. There's not one different way to do it. That's the basics of it. You're taking some of your direct instruction, shifting it to video, having students engage with it either in class or at home online, and more in a self-paced way. So some background for me. I've been a teacher for 8 years in Connecticut, high school social studies. As of 2 weeks ago, I'm now the Director of Education Technology. So even though that's my title, I'm still trying to find out what their names are. So, but part of my job now is trying to scale up. How do we get more teachers in the district trying new types of blended learning strategies? This is just one strategy, but it's one that I think is a good entryway for people that want to tinker with blended learning. On Twitter, I'm at @mr_Driscoll. I tweet out any resources I come across that are interesting. So even if you're not on Twitter, you can be a lurker. So that's important, right? It's okay to just pure resource that you can contribute. It's a good place to start. Okay, so the 5 steps. Okay, I know this kind of sounds like an infomercial, but I just tried to consolidate this into 5 things that anybody who's trying a flipped class would have to do in one form or another. And you may all do this differently, but these are 5 things that you always have to do. And this is the first and most important part. What is the instructional purpose? Okay, I see the mistake. A lot of people just take the first PowerPoint they can find in their folder and make a video of it. Sometimes you can deliver that. But what is the purpose of it? I'll go into that a little bit more later, but what's the student outcome you're looking for? Because that will determine what type of video you make. The second thing is, what type of equipment do you have available? If you don't have good equipment available, you have to get it. All right, and that's where you might have to curate, find some people that maybe have it, or go to your tech director or administrator. These are some of the tools that I need to flip my class. The third is how you're going to make your video. And I'm going to go through all these more specifically in a second, but what type of tool are you going to use? There are free tools that are excellent. If you want to make more high-quality videos, there's software such as Camtasia Studio, I'll get to that in a little bit, where you can make really powerful videos. And there's also probably 15 ed tech companies that have come out in the past 5 years to make online web-based tools to help you create a flip video easily, web-based, all online. Okay, so it's really promising that a lot of these companies are coming out because it just makes it easier for us to streamline the process. The fourth is, you have your video, wonderful. How do the kids engage with it? How do you share your video with them? You could throw it on YouTube, or if YouTube's blocked. How many people have YouTube blocked in their school? All right, so that would be problematic. My school did too. My workaround was to go to Vimeo. Some people just throw it up on Edmodo class website. But how do you have your students see the video? And then the last part is we want to take it up a notch, and instead of just having them view the video, how do they interact with it? That could be as simple as having them take notes. It could be as complex as having them taking embedded comments and questions throughout your video. Okay, it could be having them create a follow-up screencast. I know a lot of math teachers do it where the students actually create their own screencast in response to a question so they can work through their response and you can hear their thinking, their thought process. So it can be as simple as notes or as complex as something like that, but you have to make it interactive because I learned the hard way. If you just assign a video and move on, they're not gonna watch it, right? There has to be something, some way to hold them accountable and to make some value. And also so you get some feedback on did they actually learn anything in the video. All right, so that's an important piece to it. So first, a few different things that you can consider with the instructional purpose. The easiest way to start out is just a traditional content-based lecture. So this video to the right, it was just one of my world religions PowerPoints or prezis that I put together. I started out by making a lot of content-based lectures. So I probably took 3 or 4 per unit,
made a quick video. At the beginning, I thought quick was 20 minutes. Because I was like, oh, I'll take my 40-minute lecture and make it 20 minutes. No kid is ever going to watch a 20-minute video, ever. Right? So really, you're shooting for, at the most, a minute per grade level. That's kind of like a good way to think about it. If you have a high school kid, maybe 10 minutes, maybe. Really try to keep them under 5. If you have younger students, even a minute or 2 is about all you need. Okay. If you have a lot of stuff to cover, just record it once and chop it up, okay, into like 4 or 5 smaller videos. The other way to start out, though, is, and I flipped my civics class last year, and we didn't have a lot of time to make the videos. Okay, on top of the time crunch with our school schedule, I have a 4- and a 2-year-old at home. I'm not making a lot of videos at home at night or on the weekends, right? So what I did is, before a unit test, I would sit down with my colleague, another civics teacher, and we would make a review video during our prep period. And we use that, the kids could use that during the review day. They would actually engage with it, a study guide and all that. But then the next year, guess what you can do? You can split that up. Now you use that to front load your instruction. So you already made the review video. Now you could just use that to replace a lecture moving forward. So it's just an easy way to get started and then to create that archive for the next year. Oop, unnecessary movement. Okay. This is something that Modeling Skills, Brian Germain, another colleague, he said, you know what, if we're going to use the same type of assignment format for every class for social studies, I'm just going to run through a tutorial of how to do it. So he created a tutorial video on how to go through a 10% summary assignment that we do. Not only did that help us as a department streamline our assignments and use common language, but every time a student needed help with that, that video was always available to them. Okay, say a new student comes into school, or maybe they didn't pay attention the first time, it's always there. Okay. Tech tutorials, this is huge, especially if you're starting to use Chromebooks or iPads or any other technology you want. Say you have a class website, they've never used a class website before. Make a quick video showing them how to get in, how to create a login. Especially if, like, say you're one-to-one and you're establishing norms for what does a one-to-one environment look like. Make a quick video running through how do you treat the Chromebooks, how do you put them back into the cart, how do you sign them up, whatever it is. Create a quick tech tutorial on how to set them up for that. And then similar to modeling skills, assignment instructions, especially if you're going to use the same assignment over and over again, make a quick video explaining how it works, and then you can use that throughout the year. Now, this is something that I dabbled with, but other teachers have really done a lot. Differentiation. So, say for instance you have a huge range in your class, right? When I was teaching world history, it was about, I think the reading levels was somewhere around 2 to 3, all the way up to 10 or 11. So I couldn't give them the same video and expect them to really get it. So I started to work with a special ed teacher that was working at the time. We actually made modified videos where she would actually sit next to me. We would go through together, and I knew, Tom, you got to stop. She would actually butt in and ask questions that she knows her kids are going to ask her when she engages with the video with them. Okay, so differentiated videos is definitely helpful. Addressing misconceptions. Okay, I had students say that, you know, the 3/5 clause said that 3 out of every 5 slaves could vote. Right? That's not right. So it was a huge misconception in my class, but it happened 2 years in a row. So I said, all right, I'm just going to make a misconception video where I said, all right, a lot of people think in this class 3/5 clause meant 3/5 of the slaves could vote. It actually didn't at all. It had to do with the representation. It's all this stuff. The point is that I showed it to them beforehand so that that misconception never really took root. And then this is a cool idea that I got from a science teacher, inquiry hook videos. He actually starts one class with, there are these construction workers in this hole, and they throw a rock down, and it's just silence for like a minute. And then bang! And then he stops the video, and he asks the kids, how far down did the rock go? So in class, they had to do the math to figure out how long it took. Gravity, I have no idea how to figure it out, but in the science class, he was teaching that concept, and they used that inquiry hook video to engage with it. So the video actually asked a question, didn't provide any answers. So that's another way that you can think about what is the purpose of the video. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so what I would do is I would create playlists for the students, even right in YouTube, and then I would create a separate modified playlist that the special ed teacher would run through for review periods. Yeah, because, well,
Kind of hard, right?
yeah, well, it happens anytime you differentiate. It's kind of a logistical thing where, with the whole labeling issue and all that stuff. So I understand that point, but I just created separate playlists, and there were clear expectations on who would engage with each one. Okay. All right. So once you figure out why you're going to make your video, you have to figure out what your equipment is. The easiest way to do it is just use the built-in stuff that you have. So if you have a good computer, you probably have good audio and video built in. If you have a school-issued computer, it probably isn't, right? So in my new job, of course, they give me the leftover PC in the corner of the whatever room that they stuck me in. And I had a webinar yesterday on digital citizenship. And of course, as I'm logging into the Google Hangouts, I realized there is no mic and there's no webcam. Right? Great. So I had to take my iPad out last second and just record it like this, playing the iPad. But yeah, just figure out what you have available. And if you don't, this is what you have to do. Find out what external audio and video you have available. Use it. And if you don't have it, my recommendations are try to find any audio device that's at least a USB. I don't even know if they still make them anymore. You know those little analog ones where you plug in the side? Those are pretty bad. And I think it's because they pick up the sound from inside the computer as they record. So try to at least get a USB one. You can get those for like 10 bucks. Okay, they're not very, very expensive. The one that I like to use is called a Samson Meteor mic. That's a little more expensive. It's about 60 bucks. But what's nice is it's a 360 mic. So you can have students, a lot of students create a screencast. They could sit around it and it'll pick up every direction. Okay, so that's the one that I recommend. It's called Samson Meteor mic. And then as far as the webcam, you could get an HD one for not that expensive, or a regular one will do, but might as well go for the HD one because that's what everything's going to get rendered into anyway now. So that's what I recommend, the Logitech. Do you have a question? Yep. You could, yes. If I know some of them, they can actually record audio, right? So yeah, so you could record. Yep. Yeah, so I would check with your IT department, but I would say most new ones do have an audio recording feature. Yeah, so you could record video. It could record what's on your screen. It could, because whatever you draw on your board is going to be on your display too. It'll record your display, so anything you do on the whiteboard will get video recorded on the display. And some of the new ones have all built-in recording features, so it's really set up nice if you want to create a quick video just right on your whiteboard. And I know some people that even just set up a webcam, they go to a regular whiteboard and just make a video. I mean, that's kind of a low-tech way to do it, but it can be effective, especially for math if you're doing out problems. It's a nice way to do it. Or dot cams. I know some people that make flip videos with the Elmos. Okay, you could actually just make a quick video of doing out problems or annotating, things like that. Okay, number 3. How are you going to make the video once you have the equipment? You guys may have seen things on either Twitter or other websites. 50 screencasting tools. Guess what? You don't need 50. You need one that works. Okay? And instead of going out researching all these different ones, I've been telling people there are 2 that I recommend to try depending on what device you have. If you have a PC or a Mac, Screencast-O-Matic is free and it's web-based. Okay, Screencast-O-Matic. If you Google it, you just go online. You can log in, you can save your videos, but actually you don't even need to log in. It'll just give you a URL of your video, or you could download it and just get the file and share it however you want. So Screencast-O-Matic's free, it's web-based. Camtasia Studio is if you want to make a really good video. Okay, so Camtasia Studio even gives you the ability to ask questions in the middle of the video, stop it, have them respond. Some other features like hotspots where they can click on part of the video and shoot to a place on the internet. So you can do a lot of great stuff with Camtasia Studio, but not necessary. But if you want to start making some good ones, see if your school will get you a license to Camtasia Studio. If you have an iPad, Educreations is free. So a lot of people use that. You can start with that. Another one I didn't put up there, but I think it's called Show Me. A A lot of math teachers use Show Me. That one's good too. Exactly. Yep, I know a lot of teachers that would, maybe you just have them do out a problem, submit it, then you have students creating their own screencasts to submit assessments, which is a great way to use that tool. Explain Everything is excellent. The whopping price of like $2.99 or whatever. But it's funny, we see an app for $2.99, so no way. You know, but like we'll spend $8 at Dunkin' Donuts on the way to school every day. We're gonna spend $2.99 for an app. But Explain Everything's great, and the guy's right out of Boston that makes it. He does a good job. And then Chromebooks. How many here are Chromebook schools? Okay, Chromebooks are great, but they are a little limiting regarding software, right? Everything has to be web-based and all that. Luckily, the ed tech companies realized this, so they started making apps and extensions for Google that do screencasting. The first one there is called Snagit. So it's actually made by the same company that makes Camtasia Studios from TechSmith. So Snagit is an extension that, even if you're not in a Chromebook, if you just use Google Chrome as your browser, any computer you use, you can put the Snagit extension on there, and anything in your browser, you can make an immediate screencast of, and that will get sent right to your Google Drive, which is pretty nice. Okay, it saves and syncs automatically, so that's a nice extension. Screencastify does the same thing. Okay. So either one of those extensions, you can take a video right in your browser, and it will save and sync to a folder in your Google Drive. Okay, so very helpful if you're in a Google Apps school. Okay, any questions?
The one that's out there was
Show Me. Yeah, that's a good iPad app, so Show Me is another option. Okay, so you have your purpose, you have your tech tools. Now you got to show it to them. Yep.
I was just going to add something
Yeah.
to your last slide.
Yeah.
I just recently saw folks at Microsoft putting out some self-opted today.
Yep.
Have you seen anything about that? And that's a way you can kind of use PowerPoint to build video and stuff in there.
Exactly. So what?
It
Yeah.
lets you import things
Yeah.
off Google Drive as well.
Absolutely. So Microsoft, they're a little late to the party with education, with everything, but they're starting to finally realize that this is available. So they're starting to build PowerPoint where you can just create a screencast right from within your PowerPoint. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're a Microsoft user, then that's why you don't even need to buy extra software. Yeah. Maybe. That comes, yeah. Okay. It's come. Okay, so how to share your video. First, you got to make it simple to access it. If it takes 5 clicks to get there, they're not going to get there. Okay, you have to either put it right on your class website or have like a bunch of short links on your board, or however you do it, make it as quick for them to get there as possible. I'll show you in a second a few ways that you can do that, but it has to be simple for students to access. And the second thing is you got to figure out what platforms they have access to at home and at school. As I mentioned, some of them, YouTube is not blocked for you maybe, but it might be blocked for your students. And if you just say, oh, it's a flipped class, they'll do it at home. Home is not the only place they should be engaging with this. Okay, there are a lot of ways that they can engage with videos during the school day. And quite frankly, being at home is not the best learning environment for a lot of kids. It's not a safe place for them to learn. They should be learning in school. So to just say you can only engage in my flip video at home, maybe you have the community where you can say that. But a lot of communities you can't. Okay, so you have to make sure that they have access to these videos while they are in your school. Okay, so that's important. Find out what's blocked, what's not. TeacherTube is really bad, but if that's your only option, you could use it. But I know Vimeo, a lot of times for whatever reason, that kind of gets under the radar, and they don't block that. So I would check Vimeo too. All right, so hosting. I just mentioned 2 of them. YouTube, Vimeo. But if you're a Google Apps school, you don't have to host it anywhere. Once it's in your drive, just share the link to the video with them. That's all you have to do. Okay, you could even make a folder with all your videos, share the folder with your class. They have access to every video you have. Okay, and who has Google Classroom in here? Perfect. You could push the videos right to them through Classroom. Right? So it's a really nice streamlined approach to sharing your videos. Does anyone have an LMS, like Schoology or something like that? Okay. You could actually upload it directly to that too. So it could just live in the LMS that you have. Okay, so once the video is hosted somewhere, that's where your video lives, for lack of a better term. you have to share it with them somehow. So do you have a class website, like a Blogger or Weebly or something like that? Make sure the links are all on there, nice and easy to find. If you have a learning management system, share it with them there. Does anyone use Edmodo? Okay. It's okay. I don't like the whole giant list of stuff, though. That makes it kind of hard to, so say you post a video in November, they would have to like scroll all the way back to get it. That's kind of a pain. So I would avoid doing that. But just have it in one spot that they can access all their videos in one clean, easy way to get to them. An easier way to even do it is, say you use Google Docs in your Google App School. What I did for our civics class is we just made one civics resource hub where we put everything from the year on this one document. We made a bit.ly for it, bit.ly/PHS civics. It was on our board. We drilled it into their brains from day one, and they knew that everything was going to be there. So for instance, our review videos, what were the debates at the convention? What does the preamble actually mean? 5-minute guide to the Constitution. It's all right there, and they can go back to it at any time, but it's all in this one Google Doc. All I did, I highlight the words, insert link to the video, done. Okay. So that's another easy way that you can share them out. And then if they are pretty savvy getting through to YouTube and stuff like that, which most are, just make a playlist. So another thing I did is I made a government and civics playlist. We just put all our videos right there, and they knew where the playlist was. A lot of them just subscribe to the channel, and then they can access it. Okay. And actually, the presentation I'm giving now, I made a flipped version of it that I'll share with you guys after. But as soon as you go to the channel, I just hope everything that I do from ed tech to conferences to this, I just make playlists for, because if it works for students, a lot of times it works for teachers, for professional learning as well. So it's another way that you could even maybe get that into the minds of your district when they do the PD. Just say, look, can we create some archived modules that we can access this even if we can't make it or something like that. Okay, so last part, how to make it interactive. Like I mentioned, the first easy way to do it is to just have them take notes. And even up until this year, there's been a million tools that came out, but I found for a lot of kids, the most effective way was to just have them have a template and just jotting notes down. And you would think, just pen and paper. And it's like, I know it goes against the grain with this whole theme, but I found that a lot of kids, especially if it's a small device, watching a video and trying to type in another screen, it is a little bit tricky for them. So just having the computers just playing the video, and then they just have pen and paper just jotting notes down, sometimes for kids that's a lot easier for them to do. But of course, you can do a digital version of this, have them in Google Notes. There's actually a program now called Video Notes. That's a program for Google. Has anyone used Video Notes? N-O-T. If you look it up, Video Notes, it's an extension in Google Apps. So if you're a Google Apps School particularly, you insert the link of the video. As they take notes, it timestamps it for them. So as they go back into their notes from that, they click on that note, it shoots to that part of the video. It's just a nice way to review and go back and find stuff. Okay. Or if you want to make an outline for your kids, you could use that too, and they could click and go to different parts of it. The other basic thing that I did all the way up until this year too is have a quiz for each video. I just used Google Forms, made a quick 10-question multiple choice, had the video embedded right into the quiz, just to have a good idea of what they got out of it, what they didn't. You can ask a lot of questions. If you guys use discussion forums, or even if you want to start class with a question, or if you do a lot of peer instruction, that's a good way as a hook to get them more engaged in your class, is ask a question from the video, have them bring those answers or those questions into class, and then you can start out your class with some of the questions that came up. So for instance, this student posted a question on our discussion forum. Why didn't the peace between Israel and Palestine last that long? That's not an easy thing to answer, right? But it's a good conversation starter. Great question, right? I mean, nobody has an answer for that one. But actually, I was mentioning someone before. Actually, I'm jumping back a little bit here, but the inquiry hook videos. One video I made that was very powerful was it started up, it was just, actually it wasn't even a video, it was a picture. And I had them look at the picture for homework, and it was a picture of a Palestinian kid trying to get water out of a well that was dry. And the way the perspective of it is in the background, and I'm dipping into politics here, sorry, but there was an Israeli swimming pool with kids jumping in, right? And I just asked the question, look at this picture, and then when we came to class, I said, is this fight purely about religion, or is there an element of access to resources? And we had a debate about it. Okay, but that picture, and I'm sure I could have used a video about the same topic, that led into it. And of course, some people said, you know, that was a biased picture, which it was. That photographer was trying to make a political point. So then we talked about, are pictures biased, are they neutral, things like that. All right, I'm drifting into history teacher mode, but the whole point is that use these to spark interest and inquiry, not just to answer questions. Okay, now the final tip for all of us busy teachers, right? There's no such thing as a teacher with free time. You may not have a lot of time to do this. Let's just face it. You may have an administration that's very supportive, that gives you time to tinker and play with this stuff. Maybe you don't. So if you're going to try this out, the biggest tip is to establish an efficient workflow with whatever you pick, and try not to tinker too much. Once you find something that works for you, stick with it and get as quick as possible. When I first started doing this in 2010, I had this crappy old Dell laptop. Camtasia Studio, it took forever. My first video of 10 minutes took me 2 hours. And I almost gave up. I said, this is ridiculous. Okay, my wife told me to give up. She's like, stop doing that. But over time, I found out, all right, if I use this tool, it cuts my time in half. Then I also realized I just get better at it. One tip, just record the whole thing at once, even if you screw up. Because guess what? Just do it. Yeah. Right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It's actually, and John Bergman, who I worked with a little bit, who's one of the guys that started this whole thing, his saying is, do you need it perfect or do you need it by Tuesday? All right? So just be quick, be efficient, and just crank the thing out. But yeah, and again, too, if you get Camtasia Studio or a good editor, one thing I do now is I'll just roll through the whole thing, and if I do want to cut out some longer parts, or say the bell's ringing in the background, or a kid comes in and asks a question 3 times while I'm recording, I'll just keep going, and I'll just cut that part out and then merge it. And then sometimes to like after a cut, I'll just like put a hat on. It's like out of nowhere, bang, a hat pops on my head, you know, just to see if like kids like pick up on it. But I just try to be fun with it, you know. Okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot to go through the example. Some people, like PowerPoint, an example would be a PowerPoint, use Screencast-O-Matic to record it, share it on Schoology. That could be one workflow. The workflow that I started to use is I'd have my Google presentations, use Camtasia Studio, upload it to YouTube, share it on a Google Doc. So whatever workflow you have, just keep rolling with it. It will get faster and more efficient every time you do it, to the point where you'll be banging these out in a prep period. From recording, editing, uploading, sharing, you can get it done in like a half hour. Okay, so once you guys get that process, and then the other nice thing is it's some upfront work, then you have them forever. I mean, I was using videos from 2011 in my class this year. Okay, so once they're there, you just keep building that archive, and you don't have to make them anymore, they're already there. Okay, so before we wrap up, I wanted to give you guys some time to maybe talk with some people at your table about these 5 strategies and how you think you could start flipping a lesson, a course, or if you already flip, how you could take it to the next level. I guess I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes and go. Yeah.
On the ones where you actually were showing a presentation and yet also talking over top of it,
Yep.
What were you using for that particular setup?
Yeah, so any screencasting software you use has a voiceover. So Camtasia Studio, I use that Camtasia Studio, but that's built in. So like if you go on Screencast-O-Matic or Camtasia Studio, there's a button you can click. Do you want to turn your webcam on or off? You always want the audio on. But some people, I know some people say, I don't want my face on there. Okay, just don't click it. So it's just a, and actually with the tech tutorials, you don't want your face there. And I found out because my face was covering part of the screen that I was trying to demo. You know, like if you look at a company website and they demo a software, you don't see the guy's head in the corner, right? You don't need it. Maybe, yeah. But you don't really need that. But if you're introducing a topic, sometimes you might want to have your face there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so all Camtasia is it's screencasting with a video editor built in. So I had my screencast, I just cut it, inserted a video, and then it went back to the screencast. But you could do that with anything, like even with Movie Maker or iMovie. You could make your screencast video, throw it into iMovie, and cut it up however you want, and then add videos. So you can get as creative as you want with it. It's pretty cool. All right, yep, no problem. Yeah.
Device just
I've heard great things about it. I've never used it. As long as I think you need YouTube access though. But so as long as your kids have YouTube access, I think you're good. Because have you used it before? But yeah, it doesn't help you like you can add in questions and quizzes and yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like kind of like a gatekeeper, so they can't just kind of blow through it or just like put it on and then let it roll and go on whatever else. But yeah. Another one you could check out is similar to Educant. It's called Ed Puzzle. Ed Puzzle. It's this guy out of Spain, I think, made it, but it's that's good too if you're curating videos. Like if you just want to pull one off TED and use that as a flip lesson, it helps you build into that. So that's pretty cool too. I forgot to even mention that, but just curating videos is a good way to start too. But yeah, so check out Ed Puzzle. That might be good. Might be helpful.
and she got me one because I borrowed the one that we had really every single day off the year my first year. And she bought one
It's a good sign when it's loud. It means they're talking. Have you sat in on a session here before? Have you sat in on a session here before? I don't know. You look familiar for some reason. I don't know. That's what I saw something. Maybe one of those sessions. Gotcha. Have you started flipping yet? Have you tried? Yep. Yeah. I met a. What do you think? How do you think you'd record it? Are you gonna do like a? Yeah. Not that good. You could use your iPad.
It's mountainous, so like we're most concerned about how the kids are going.
Do they don't have access to YouTube?
A lot of students have internet.
Could they access it in school?
So
There's no computers.
there's computers, but the filter is so bad that everything that we try to do is graphic design and they can't even research
Do they have access to Google accounts?
They might this year. We got a grant with a bunch of Chromebooks.
Okay.
But it's definitely not set up by that. So I don't know. We're just trying to.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you started a class by showing it and then had it archived somewhere for them to go back and look. I met an art teacher from, I think it was Alabama, who she made a whole series on, well, she taught like Photoshop too, so she made some of those, but she also taught something about like coloring and shading. And she actually had like the dot cam and she was just going over some techniques for drawing. And she made that part of like a homework assignment. So you could start with some of that. Yeah.
Our school keeps changing
Yeah.
what they want to try to do every year. So
Yeah.
we're trying to think of something that we can just do and
Yeah.
get to the kids.
Yeah.
So we're not like constantly changing every time they decide to do something new.
Yeah.
So it's a pain.
Yeah. Well, good luck. If you ever have questions, just reach out. Let me know. No. In Rhode Island? Where does he teach? Maybe St. Andrews or, yeah. There's a few in there. Yeah. Yeah. He's from Bristol? Oh, nice. Yeah, it's a great place, but yeah. Yeah, no problem. Yep.
How do you allow substitute teachers in and out of the buildings a lot to access some of the videos and materials that you have?
Yep.
And I would think, when you talked about having those professional development tools out there
Yeah.
to access, I mean, it's really powerful, being a building sub, being out of different districts for a very long time before I got a position. That's really key to make them feel engaged in the building that they're in the classroom.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually was helpful. A lot of times I would leave the lesson and everything was already there. The materials were there. The kids knew the process, and then the subs could view it, so they would be in the loop too of what's going on. And then, like you said, with the PD, making it all accessible to everybody. And that's one thing that I'm going to try to do in this new position is showcase what people are already doing in the district and create online PD modules based on that. So you just go see what all the awesome stuff people are doing in the district.
So I'm teaching an online course in game design, so it's through a university, and they have it set up so they have their own university server that all the materials need to go on. And I'm wondering if this is it's their own in-house enterprise software thing. So I'm just wondering if this is going to be like that every school is going to have its own server, or whether the school district would have, this is the school district server, so we have control over the content. So it creates an archive, right, of all the stuff that people have done. It also creates a control that they're allowed to continue to block YouTube, but allow you to, so
it can be hosted internally.
Yeah, because then you have to take it and then you have to, you have to upload it to that place.
I hope we don't move to that, but we might have to. Yeah.
Putting it all on Drive, I think, is probably, seems to me to be the most seamless way to do it.
That's the easiest way to share it out.
But I don't, these guys won't do that for liability reasons.
Yeah. You might be able to just host it internally, though. Yeah, that might make sense. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up. I love when sessions get loud. Too often you go to a whole session and no one ever talks the whole time. So that's good. Just a couple ways that you guys can reach me. Like I said, I actually made a flipped video of today's session, and I even split it up by step, right? So that flipped history videos, just one word on YouTube. All my ed tech videos are going to be hosted there. You can access those, share them with whoever you'd like. Flippedhistory.com is my blog, which I might have to change the title of now. I don't know. But I have a lot of flipped learning stuff there that I've curated over the years. On Twitter, at Mr.Mr_Driscoll. I'll be tweeting out stuff forever. And then if you just want to get say you wanted a PDF of the slides from my keynote today, there's a keynote presentation. If you want the PDF version of that, shoot me an email. It's thdriscoll@gmail.com, and I'll forward that over to you. So, all right, thanks, guys. Have a good conference. Yep.
Mr. Driscoll is kind of an old lady here. This is the third time I've listened to you.
Oh.
It's taken me 3 years to put it all together.
Yeah, good.
Now I feel like I can really do something.
Great.
So thank you. And I've read part of your
Oh, you did read it?
Oh,
but thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. And if any questions, please just let me know or reach out and I'll help you out. All right. Well, good luck. Thanks, Sharon.